All right, staying in the SEC East, let's kick it on down to Athens next, where Kirby Smart met with the media late on Tuesday evening. Too late for us to get it on the last show, but this is kind of what I'm talking about. And maybe it's just unfair to be comparing the defending national champions to a team in their division, their arch rival that just fired their coach. But what of our concerns here in Georgia? Our concerns are fifth-year quarterback that just won us the national championship. We only lost one game to Alabama in the SEC championship. We're worried about, can this guy, Stetson Bennett, be more consistent? Can he lead the team? Can he lead this offense when, we've just seen him essentially do it? He's going to have to be better, no doubt, if Georgia's going to win the national championship. But, that is something that Kirby Smart detailed here in his press conference. Stetson Bennett's decision to return, what went into that. And I thought this was interesting because Kirby, we all know his history with the quarterback position, kind of, a lot of whiffs on there, no doubt. And hell, we all doubted him last season with how he handled the thing, yet he was proven correct. So clearly he knows much better than all us naysayers out there wishing and hoping JT Daniels got in the lineup. But it was pretty bizarre to see him, really, I don't want to say he tore into Stetson Bennett here, but really called out Stetson for not playing as well as he could have last season, despite all the success the Bulldogs had on the field during their epic run to the national championship.
Yeah, we had a couple conversations just in passing, and he reached out a couple times and just said he really wanted to come back and wanted to continue to get better. And, there wasn't a lot there. There weren't a lot of questions and things. It was more he feels like that he's grown as a quarterback. He knows that we showed a lot of confidence in Stetson, if you didn't notice. And he answered that with the way he played. I think he'd be the first to tell you he can still grow and get better. And, we have high expectations for Stetson, but we also have high standards of what we expect Stetson to do in terms of leading our offense, in terms of going to class and doing the right things. And we're still challenging him to do those things. Make good decisions, right? We were late over the middle a couple times with balls and late in the season. And, he'll be the first to say he didn't play perfect. He made some really good plays for us with his feet, his legs, his decision-making. But you just want to take out some of the bonehead throws, some of the bonehead mistakes that he's made from time to time. And, hey, it's easy for him to say he hadn't had an opportunity to correct those mistakes because the guy was taking threes at this time last year. He was taking reps as a three or sparingly and wasn't getting a lot of reps. So he got a lot of work fast, and we feel like he's still showing progress. He's done some really nice things this spring, but that should be expected for a guy with his experience level.
So pretty interesting there, don't you think? I mean, I have heard that Stetson Bennett only came back because, they promised him he'd be the starting quarterback. There was rumors that they were going to go after Caleb Williams. That would have been certainly interesting. And hell, Georgia, the last two recruiting classes have signed 5-star quarterbacks in Brock Vandergriff and Gunnar Stockton. So you got to believe that if either one of those guys is ready to play, and I certainly don't think it would be Gunnar at this point, but there's going to be people calling for Brock. As soon as Stetson Bennett has a bad game, we're going to go through this thing all over again. And it almost seems to me like Kirby, because he owes this guy so much for helping the Dogs win the national championship. I'm a little conflicted here, but it certainly seems like he's trying to toughen him up already for what's going to come in the fall, because I really do think that the mailman, he deserves all the credit in the world for what he did last season. But if we're being honest, he was not front and center for that national championship team as much as we made it a topic. It was that defense. It was the supporting cast. And the supporting cast is still going to be strong. The defense is still going to be strong. But Stetson Bennett is going to have to raise his game up to an all-SEC, maybe even a Heisman finalist type level if the Georgia Bulldogs are going to win it all. And that's the expectation now. Make no mistake about it. If Georgia doesn't win the championship this year, the fans are going to be disappointed with the results on the field. And that's certainly the vibe I'm getting here from Kirby. And to continue on that theme, I mean, I know we just started spring practice here, but already Kirby's complaining about an issue that has plagued Georgia the last couple of years here, lack of depth at the corner position. Why that is, Kirby says this is as thin as they've ever been in his, 7 years here as Georgia's head coach. This was some pretty eye-opening comments here, and he doesn't say these guys' names, but he's talking about Kamari Lassiter, Nyland Green, and Dalen Everett here when he's talking about these guys taking all the reps in practice at the cornerback position at this point in time.
They got a lot of opportunity. I mean, they're taking every single rep with the ones and twos. So those guys are out there. That's, the receiver and DB, we have never in 7 years been this thin, ever been this thin. And you can point a finger and blame anywhere you want, but it's the life of college football coach now. You don't have depth. You don't have it anywhere. It's easy to leave and go places. Those guys are a little more maybe higher maintenance in terms of thinking of themselves, and they expect to play right away, and they're quicker to go. So it's certainly a position of concern for us in terms of recruiting and development at the skill position.
And then last thing, we all buzz about Will Anderson, and for good reason. I mean, he is just incredible, but possibly the most overlooked defender, not only in the SEC, but maybe the country, and a guy that, is really, if he takes his game up to the next level, he is probably going to compete for Will Anderson to be the best defensive player in the country next season, is Jalen Carter. And Kirby is really hammering home with this guy. All the accolades, everything they accomplished last season, they went about 10 deep legitimately on that defensive line. They still go deep, but clearly not as deep as that because they're going to have about 4 or 5 guys selected in the NFL draft. But he's looking for Jalen Carter not only to be a dominant force on the field, but he's really pushing him to be a leader that they need there in Athens. There's a leadership void, no doubt. This is the time when that starts to become developed and sets the tone for the upcoming season. So I just thought this was an interesting comment here from Kirby for arguably his best player on the roster.
Well, Jalen's a good football player. I think that he's taken a role in Trey's room of trying to set an example for others, and that's Devontae and Jordan did as fine a job, and really Trevon in that same category along with Julian. They set a standard of work ethic, and you won't, whether it's Jalen, Zion, whoever's going to control that. But Jalen's certainly talented, and you have to push. You have to be willing to push yourself and give great effort in practice, because really that's what set Devontae Wyatt apart. He played himself into a really good player. He was not that player when he got here. He was not that talented a player when he got here. He worked himself to that. He lost weight. He got stronger. He got quicker. He wasn't the player year 1, 2, and 3 that he was 4 and 5. And we'd like to have the same thing with Jalen. He was certainly a very talented player as a freshman and sophomore, but we'd like to get more out of him.